Hello and welcome to another session of A Girl by Moonlight on a Sea of Stars. Our series is titled Divine Engines, and we are in the next mission stage. We did a mission last time. We did the sort of the very start of kind of setup, the under pressure section of the thing, and we're going to be going to downtime here in just a moment. There are a couple of mechanical stages that we're going to go through. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of the Open Hearth Gaming Community, which is an online gaming club / community. There's a link to that in the show notes. We have an open gaming weekend coming up November 10th through 12th. It is free, and we have, at this point, 30 sessions available for people across a large swath of time zones. If you're interested in trying out an online game, seeing one of these particular games, seeing what our community is about, it's free. Come and check it out. Sign up. All our games are run using a layered set of safety tools, as we do all things here on Open Hearth. If you're watching this after the November 10th/12th, 2023, or listening to it since we're getting the podcast thing set up, then we'll be doing more of those, assuming nothing catches fire and burns to the ground, which is always a possibility. But we will see. Let me talk a couple mechanical things. We talked last time about what the distinction is between sort of the gather information and the make preparations here. And I was pretty much right, but maybe not clear, I think, in part of it. In this game, there is a move in downtime that in our particular version is called make preparations, and that fills up a track to kind of increase your investigation. It's called investigation in the rest of the thing. It fills up a track and increases that. When you do that, that automatically triggers something called gather information. The gather information is a fallout from that. And what that means is you either get one or two questions that you get to ask, and there are example questions for each playbook. So that's what those questions are. And there are also, I know, some moves that relate to that gather information. So when you make preparations like, oh, I want to do this and prepare the bastion for this thing, in this game, you also get to kind of investigate and find things out at the same time. So it's just a single downtime action that does all of that. They are pretty flexible on those questions. Your playbooks definitely shape the direction that it can go in, but you should, as I always do when we run information gathering things, if you need to modify what those questions are asking or so on, feel free to do that. So that is where we left off last time. Our bastion, and with it, our ship had made its jump following the attack, and we find ourselves in the outskirts of another system. We are on a planet that is within the system, and we, I think, cut to a scene with both teams of pilots gathered together, and it's probably we haven't seen as much of our beta team, Team Arcturus, which is technically Alpha Team, but they are seated there, and we see Bishop Cranach there, and he will say, "We have arrived at a destination. Given the pressure that we were under, we had to go to some probabilities rather than a definitive destination. We have arrived at a previously mapped and colonized system. And he'll pull up on screen like a stellar map. We are not on the colony planet, but we are on another one. And he'll bring up a couple of things, and he will say, "This is Tierfing. That is the name of the system." And I think a shiver will go through you, Octavius, and we'll come back to why. Say, Tierfing 4 was a smaller planet in a relatively stable orbit. It is no longer there. There seems to be an asteroid cluster, a collection of space garbage where it was. Team Arcturus, you are going to be dispatched to see if you can figure out what occurred there and if there are any resources that can be harvested from the planet. Sia, put your ghost cat away. But our other team will be heading to Tierfing 3. It was a colony. We are not receiving any signals from the colony. But our long-range scans and sensors don't show the usual signs that we have seen for when a colony is converted into a Leviathan. We're going to need you, boots on the ground, to check out the situation. That means you're going to want to be cleared for full oxygen suits, personal weapons, and such operating outside your engines. We've got about 36 hours before we'll be in position to launch you both teams out. So you have some time to get yourselves ready in the meantime. Octavius, this is not what Tierfing system is supposed to look like. You've been to Tierfing system. It was a converted colony. It got eaten. Tierfing 4 was not destroyed. And this is the place where Sia died. Any questions? All right, dismissed. Full ready will be up. We're going to be increasing your boost dosage for the next 36 hours, especially for Team 2, if you're going to be on the ground. And Kranich will do the make it so gesture and send you on. Tell me something. I think your memories exactly of what happened at Tierfing are kind of scattered, Octavius, but tell me something that you definitely remember from it.
Okay, just so I've got things clear. In this one, the colony's still here?
No, they're not getting any signal. They think that the colony is dead, but it hasn't been turned into Leviathan, which is that's weird.
Okay. But in mine, it was destroyed and turned into
it's the colony that resulted
destroyed
in the
Bastion and made me jump.
Yes.
Okay. Something I remember about the system. Something I remember about here.
About the system or about the battle or
okay. We were caught off guard when the Leviathan came because it had somehow buried itself in one of the planets here.
Okay. I think that sounds perfect. It learned to camouflage itself. All right. We are going to go to downtime actions. I also want to this is also an opportunity for RP if we want to do some scenes of that across that. I want to check in with you, Tyler, when we come to you to talk with you about, you just wanted to talk about maybe changing your obligation a little. We definitely want to get a little more of a Sia Radiant thing. We also want to see Radiant outside of battle, maybe in these downtime scenes. Manon, you want a team interaction with Sia as well, was on the list. And we want to do a team building moment. So what we might do is do like one round of downtime, building the links or doing the other actions and things like that. And then we might like go to an RP moment of a team building thing, and then might see what we roll out from that, and then do the other half of downtime. I think that is appropriate. To remind you of the downtime action, since this is only the second time we will have gone through this. Core systems, downtime. You can make a connection, which is about building up those links with other people. There's helping a friend to recover, which includes describing how you're supporting their healing process. That can also apply to engines. If an engine has strength damage, keep in mind that strength damage is not going to have an effect yet if you just have 1 point off, but that's 1 point off, and that builds up over time. There's also corresponding with an engine, which is another version of make a connection. There's working on a long-term project. One of the things you can do with long-term projects that you can start is, if you wish, you can start a long-term project to add those things that are available on the let me go with how we describe that. The long-term project. I saw this before, and I'm going to go through it, and I'm probably okay. Here's what it is. Okay. We've got the flagship. The flagship pilot's mobile base of operations. Flagship upgrades are completed by unlocking long-term projects initiated by one of the protagonists. So that gets you those upgrades that are on the flagship there, and then what?
And the Bastion already helped us halfway through that track.
Yes, it did. Because I was kind of made a misreading on how that worked, actually. But there we go, because we don't actually have a project that should have gone into, but we'll worry about that if someone goes to work on that. We'll just say that those things are in place. Okay. Basically, what happens in this is those. It looks like, if I'm reading this right, that the upgrade stuff that you do, that you get those upgrade XP things for, from the end of session. Where did we get those points from? Was that a roll point, or that was XP, right? Series XP.
Which what?
Mhm. Yeah, we got Series XP, and that's where we put those 4 things
I thought
for.
we put those 4.
Oh, the series sheet. Okay, we had 5 for there.
So
the upgrade track came from the bastion, the last bastion.
Yeah. So
does
that was
its
a
own
mistake. That was
things.
actually a mistake on my part. The only way that the Bastion actually would normally put those points on is if one of you had already started a project.
Oh, it would assist an
Yeah.
ongoing project.
Yeah. Otherwise,
one is already
it just
underway.
goes to complacency. So we are going to read it as complacency this time. That is a thing that we read before you guys.
Well, no, then it would go to state of emergency, make preparations on the preparation track if Leviathan is higher than readiness.
Right. But those aren't. Neither of those next two apply.
Oh, I thought Leviathan was higher than that. Gotcha.
No, we
Okay,
established
yeah.
that it was 1 and 1, that they were even on that.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So complacency, we increase Leviathan track, roll make preparations, but apply the result to the Leviathan track. So right now we are that roll as make preparations, and that make preparations is rolled at what value? Let's see how it says that. Sorry, there's a little the series stuff changes things just enough that I need to kind of jump around here for a
And
second.
it has a lot of fiddly bits.
Yes.
Would it be a last bastion tier roll?
Yes. Rating the bastion, roll appropriate action based on the results. So can someone roll me 3 dice?
I'll do.
Okay.
5.
5. So that will be 2 ticks on the Leviathan track.
What does that mean?
They're
So
getting stronger.
yes. So what that means is, and let's break down. So there are 3 things. If there is a project in place that someone has set up, that has been established, then the first thing that the Bastion will do is help with that. If there isn't, or if it's been completed before when we come to this downtime thing, then it will go through the next 2 ticks. And that is basically if the Leviathan track exceeds readiness, then it will increase. It will go to make preparations to help out. If the Bastion track is depleted, it's going to work to repair it. If neither of those apply, then it goes to complacency, like what we just did. So how's that for just like being absolutely opaque for the moment here?
So it means we have to always have one of these things going, or
We really want one, then yeah, I think you're right, Sherry.
Yeah,
Okay.
if there's or if there's not other trouble for the last bastion to address, then they'll just make trouble.
Yeah. Which does bring us to downtime. So we're going to do 1 round of downtime and then do a team thing. I think let's see. I think we started last time with Sia. So I think Zavi, I think you're in a first chair today. So what would you like to do for your first downtime action? Did I say that right? Say Zavi, right? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking and
Oh, sure. Do you want to come up here? Is that what's happening? Okay, come here. Come here. Come here.
We seldom see you with the kitty, Lowell.
This is the kitty you never see on screen.
Oh.
You gonna come up here, Lucy? Or are you gonna go hide? Because she went there. Come here.
Look
hi.
at there. Oh, how pretty.
I was trying to think of something I could do to make preparations, but I don't really have any ideas there.
Sure. Sure.
I'll
So
have to try it out, but-
it would be maybe like a thing like, okay, I want to study the history of the Tierfing system to get us ready, or I want to see what we know about the colony, or those kinds of things would count as make preparations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds good, actually.
Okay.
I think I would like to find out what we do know about the colony.
Sure. So what do you want to roll that with? Does that feel like analyze?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that is analyze.
All right.
One die. Don't want to do anything special. Nah. Let's just see what happens here. One die.
Sure.
The 6.
A 6. So that's going to give you 3 ticks on the readiness track. We'll go to the series sheet where it says tier 1.
Cool.
I'm going to add 3 ticks to that. That will affect the tier for this one. And again, at the end of this mission, we will clear off half of the ticks that are on the readiness track rounded down. But you get 2 questions. So if you want to look at the questions that are available on your playbook.
Oh, is it together? Okay. Wow, these are
And the narrative thing is these are also things that you find out while you're doing the research. I just want to know what your first question is, and I'll kind of give you some other information
what's
as well.
the vulnerability here?
So I think the vulnerability is that the Bastion has come in here kind of unprepared. Normally, they would be sending out teams of other people besides yourselves to go and look at something like this. But clearly this jump, they were kind of unready for, and they probably got their tech and survey teams right now working on that.
Okay.
What you know about Tierfing 2 is that it housed one of the primary hubs for sort of the hyperspace communications network. And that hub seems to still be active, which you're not getting any other signals about the colony being up. No life signs, things like that. So it's a little weird that is still operational. What's your second question?
Okay, I'm not sure how applicable this is, but how can I stay hidden?
You are kind of going over what happened last time, and you really put yourself out there. You got knocked askew. You think that if you wanted to keep yourself safe while you're flying, you would attach yourself sort of at the hip to one of the others and kind of stay on them as backup. And if you just kind of consistently do that and don't take exciting action or put yourself out there, maybe they'll realize that you're not a real pilot and they'll ship you off.
Yep. That sounds like an excellent plan that will definitely that I will definitely be able to apply
Absolutely.
for about 2 minutes.
Yes.
But
Uh, Tav, what would you like to do for your first downtime action?
All righty. I'm also going to make preparations.
Okay. What is it you think you're doing?
I'm going to try and go and take I'm using what I knew from this past area, my past,
Uh-huh.
and I'm going to try and scout out that planet where we had the Leviathan come from. So probably I'm guessing that might be the colony planet.
Yeah,
but
I will say the colony planet was the one that had it hidden. So that feels like analyzed, does it?
yeah, I think so.
Okay, you're kind of comparing what you knew of the past and the information you're getting from the sensors here in the present. We see you, on the Bellerophon, kind of going and redoing the readings on that. Your face illuminated by the glow. Let's have you roll.
Okay, and because of my Oracle, I gain +1 effect level.
Okay.
And do you think this relates to my fated person?
Well,
Are we
that's
playing
why
into
that's
that?
why I set this up. So yes.
So I get an extra die as well.
So 1 effect level bonus and an extra die.
Yes. So
Oh, your claws are sharp.
oh, I got a 6.
Got a 6. So that is 4 ticks with the extra effect. So you can put that on the make preparations there.
Talks about that our questions, our gather information questions, are supposed to be different for each playbook, but it looks like all of ours are the same.
Let's take a look here. Hang on 1 second. So let's look at the gather information questions here. So your gather information questions are: what do I remember about what really happened here? What defies the flow of time? What is already in motion here? What might happen if I X? What is
That's
different?
not on
Yeah.
my character keeper sheet.
Everybody has my gather information questions.
Oh, interesting. Let's see if those are in.
They're
the-
on the playbook PDFs.
Yeah. So check those out. That's clearly a
Yeah.
again,
You'd have had a little different there probably as well, Ethan. But okay. So looking at mine. What's already in motion here?
this is definitively not not your version of this reality. And so something has occurred. Something has happened in the brief time that you've been here that has shifted things. And you're a little worried about that. You were hoping to be able to, use a little more of your specific future knowledge. But the other thing is, like, what if somebody knows you came back? What if a Leviathan came back with you? You get another question. Or 2.
Yes. kind of looking over this area then, and I think I'm gonna strike at what you said there. What defies the flow of time? What here seems significantly to have altered, or be throwing off my time knowledge.
One of the things is that part of what happened with you was using the bastion and tapping into the hyperdimensional communications array to create that ripple, to create that sending of the information that is yourself and your soul back here. And you think that if something did come back, something else did come back, it would come back at one of these hubs. And maybe that's what happened here. Or maybe it's a blowback from that, or something like clearly this is tied into that. I mean, this is the place where it all went down in your reality.
Yeah.
And that communication hub is still up. But
Okay.
there's no people. And keep in mind, timeline wise, like in your timeline, you're like a year in the future from this. So there's also that weird chronological distortion.
Well, in some ways, this is a little comforting, because if time has been if we're doing this in a different time, then that may mean that Sia does not have to die. That the crux, the singularity doesn't have to happen right now. It
doesn't have to happen, but there may be something out there that believes that it has to happen and is also back here.
Yeah. All right.
You have one more question.
Ooh, okay.
Ticks plus an extra effect level does that much.
All right. What might happen if I go down to that colony?
You're going to need to be careful. If that has been used as the communications hub, if that is part of what moved you or someone else, there's a chance the real Tav is part of that there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to then Manon.
Oh, guess we need to do a long-term project so that we don't end up in complacency.
So right now you have a long-term project that has 4 ticks in it, based on what I had said earlier, that kind of left over.
Like
what
that
I
had
need you to do
before and been interrupted by the loss of.
Yeah. And in fact, actually, it would be a long-term projects are 6 ticks, not 8.
Okay.
So you've got 4 out of 6. But I need you to tell me before we go to any more rules. Excuse me. What long-term project?
Oh, observatory.
Okay, observatory +1 to engagement rolls for recover engine and hunt Leviathan missions. Okay.
Yeah. And essentially what it is there were things that we had at the cathedral that aren't on the flagship that I and the bishop have been figuring out how to get working, is essentially it. Does that make any sense?
Right.
And the flagship upgrade track is 8 on the PDFs as well.
That's so weird, because it doesn't say that those upgrades are unusually large, but I guess let me just quickly check that. With an engine. Flagship upgrade.
There are more complex projects that can be longer.
Yeah. Flagship, yeah, long-term project, one of protagonists. Upgrade pack. I'm going to read that as 6 ticks rather than 8 because it says 6 ticks earlier on in the book for standard projects, and it doesn't say there's anything different to it in the book. So I'm going to be generous and say 6. So you want to do the observatory. So what are you doing to progress the observatory, Manon?
So clearly we've already begun the start of the thing. So I think that what it is right now we're in a state of calibration of like tracking on the different engines. So if that makes any sense. So we've got, because essentially this is an observatory, so this is that we've got people back at the flagship who can watch, send information, tell us like sort of what the big picture is, at least within a certain range of the flagship.
Okay.
So that's what it is it's a thing of what do you say, probably a mix of Manon flying whatever engines their pilots are willing to let Manon fly. But the other one is also getting the other pilots out there for that run in the calibration, because calibrations are incredibly boring. So
Let's have you roll.
Okay. All right. So
You just need a 4 or a 5.
okay, and do you pick a skill or something, or you just
Yeah,
kind of
make it an ability.
okay, well, I guess flow
An
doesn't make
action.
sense, but analyze does, so at least I get 1 die.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I hope that this is the right one. Okay. Let's see.
50-50.
A
There
4.
you go. Okay. So that will finish out that project.
Awesome.
And you will have the observatory.
Lovely. But
Okay.
that means it will be in complacency next time.
Unless somebody starts another project.
Okay.
That brings us to Sia/Radiant.
So I had a couple ideas. Working on a mechanic-y thing was one, but
Sure.
I think I'll go with the other for now and then see how things go. I want to work on a personal project.
Interesting.
As I want Sia, like hacking sounds bad, but hacking into the security systems of the flagship, like surveillance and things like that, so that he can like be there when they have pilot only briefings, or when like things that Sia wouldn't be allowed to be a part of go on. He can sort of like tap in and view them on a monitor somewhere else.
Oh, I like that. So what do you think that is? Is that analyze? Is that conceal because you're trying to do this sneakily? Or perceive
Yeah,
because you're trying to extend your senses?
I think analyze and perceive are good follow-ups, but I should probably start with conceal to make sure this like goes off without setting off any flags or anything.
That seems reasonable. Are you happy with that 1 die?
I mean, not entirely. Is there poison promise that might help me with that?
I think that certainly if you're doing sneaky things, that means there are people that you don't want to find out those sneaky things, don't want to have that judgment of you. So I think that if you do this, then I think the poisoned promise is that one of your rivals is going to get a suspicion clock on them.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Who of your rivals are we going to start that suspicion clock for?
Yeah. Commanders.
Okay.
Torn. I think Torin. I think the second in command, like he's digging for security threats, something that he can show off, sort of thing.
Absolutely. He has his eye on you. He's like, I don't understand why Sia seems to have so much access when this is unusual. There's something going on here. I don't understand. So yeah, you get an extra die.
There. I got a 6.
6. So that's 3 ticks out of the 6 on your project clock towards that hacking.
Cool.
So Manon, we'll kind of zoom out a little bit as the bishop says to you, wasn't entirely pleased with how your group performed last time. I would like you to figure out and get your team together, including Radiant, for some kind of team building activity. Please enunciate when you're speaking to me.
Yes, sir.
Good.
I'll take care of that first thing, sir.
Okay. So Manon, what is that going to look like? How are you going to, you're the de facto leader. What do you want to do in terms of what do we see here on screen for this team building exercise?
So does Radiant show up or do I have to find Radiant?
Well, let's hear what your exercise is, and then we'll work on the Radiant question. We'll put that to Patrick.
I think we had the thing where Tyler and Zavi were supposed to switch mechs, right?
Yes.
I think that she gets the group together and she goes, I think that it is useful from time to time to try a new engine. I know that you, Tav, and you, Zavi, will both be taking on a new engine for this next mission, but Radiant and I also need to flex our ability to deal with an engine that is less familiar to us. We will never be competent pilots until we can work with any engine.
So we'll assume that Zavi and Tav, you two are down there. Like we definitely know you two would have come with this. Radiant, when that call goes out, and you probably do have a comms line that you're contacted through, and Bannon says that they want Radiant for a team building exercise. What does Radiant do? especially I think because there is a little bit of a flashback, because that call does go to Sia, and there's the flashback to you seeing those three together celebrating after the battle last time, right? Because that's a few animation frames from the previous episode.
Yeah, we could reuse those.
Yes.
I think Sia has to like fake being sick to get off like the second half of his shift so that he can go do this. Probably does that a lot.
Okay.
Um
You'll never make senior engineer if you keep taking sick days.
how do I want to do this? I think I think he sneaks off into Lyra's berth where it's being kept right now, and it's sort of dark and not a lot going on here because everybody's unsure about the status of Radiant at all times and that sort of thing. And he climbs up and like scaffolding right next to the big circular weird gem heart thing, and leans in, touches his hand and his forehead to it, and just like concentrates on hearing and feeling Lyra for a minute before the sphere like flares with light once and that sort of travels through his hand and through his body, and we get a full like transformation sequence, but it's not in battle this time, into glowing Radiant, before he has to, I guess, like trudge through the hallways to get there, because I'm not going transcendent, so I can't do the full dramatic like come out of the shadows. So I have to actually like go down the elevator and walk through some hallways.
So Manon, you're there talking with Zavi, kind of checking the time when Radiant comes from the direction of the hangars.
It's good to see you. And
what does Radiant sound like?
oh yeah.
He's very confident and declamatory most of the time. It's a deeper voice than Sia, and much more assured. If you sound confident, you are confident, and people follow and believe you.
So they realize that you're just practicing sounding confident, but that's okay.
That's the thing about Radiant. He is competent. Don't know why. It doesn't come from anywhere. It shouldn't be true, but somehow it is until it's not.
I have the power of 10 mediocre white men.
No, the universe cannot stand. Okay,
so much unearned confidence.
Okay.
I read a book about this once. Don't worry.
So Manon, this is a little bit of a surprise. I mean, did you expect that Radiant would actually show up?
He has done that like twice before. It's sort of it does go better if there's some warning. I think that Radiant is an incredible slack off when he's not piloting. Is Manon's theory? Is that's what it is? That he's like sleeping or playing games or something. Something that
kind of want to know his
boys do.
secret. Where does he hide?
Yes.
Mhm.
I heard about your interesting exercises today. I wanted to make sure I was here. Lyra has been on an interesting journey, and I just wanted to make sure that everything went smoothly with a new pilot.
Oh, well, thank you. And she does sort of turn to the others. That's a good point. I know that you will not be flying the engines that you have flown before, but it is a courtesy to introduce the pilot that will be flying the machine that you are most familiar with. Well, introduce them. See if you can create a bridge for them so that they and the engine that you know better can work together more seamlessly. And so she'll sort of turn to Radiant and bow and say, I'm very much looking forward to meeting Lyra.
I definitely remember what your engine is called.
Regulus.
Regulus. I am curious to see how it is interacting with Regulus.
And she goes, he is very, she sort of stops and she goes, consistent. And she'll sort of wait for Zavi and Tav to sort of make us, she's sort of trying to see if they have anything. Yeah.
Let's do that. So Zavi, how do you introduce Tav?
First off, this is not the engine that Tav can't use because it doesn't recognize him, right?
No,
Right.
that's Regulus.
Okay. I was going to say, wait, that could get interesting in a hurry. It just doesn't perceive him. I'm trying to introduce him, but no. Okay.
There's no one there.
Right, exactly. I think, okay, Tom, have you flown in Charon yet?
And you might get a little flash across my face. I don't think so.
Oh, well, all right then. And I think it's like, I think it literally is just speaking. I think I just, put my hand up on the engine. Carolyn, this is Tav. Try not to scare him off immediately.
And I'll kind of put my hand on Sharon.
You are a strange one, aren't you?
Just thinking, I'll say, do you remember me?
I remember. And again, this is just mind to mind. I remember you, but you are not them.
And yet I remember you and I doing many things together.
Do not break my pilot.
I'm sure Pegasus will take very good care of it.
We will see. We will see. There is a death that haunts you.
There are many, but one in particular.
And then, Tav, how do you introduce Zavi?
I'll kind of take Zavi. Don't worry. It could be a little bit. They want to push you, but they absolutely want the best out of you, and I think you'll get along fine. Come on, and I'll kind of Pegasus, Zavi's going to be flying you for a bit.
What?
The bishop has decided to mix things up for a little while.
This is not like changing dance partners.
I'm
I just
afraid
remember
that
Pegasus is the engine I can't fly.
well, it
because it
is
doesn't
your
like me.
agent. Yes. You're gonna have to do a reel or two with Zavi, but I think you both could. I think you could make great partners.
No.
If you refuse, the bishop's going to come down really hard on Zavi.
So growling there. I do not let
Please.
others suffer for my choices. Once, one mission, and then never again. Understand me on this, Octavius.
I hear you. I hear you. Take care of him. You can teach him so much.
He has so much to learn.
Well, then, see, there's plenty of room. Savi, Pegasus seems willing to take you on. I think that it's gonna go great. Just listen to them. Let them lead. Let them lead in the dance. Go with the flow, and it's gonna be marvelous.
If you say so, yeah, okay.
Sia / Radiant, how do you introduce Manon to Lyra?
I think I lead her up that same scaffolding, and the center sphere there starts sort of pulsing, heart-like with light, and he reaches his hand towards it and sort of pauses for a moment and turns back and says, "You may be surprised by how loud Lyra can be." And he'll reach forward and touch the side of the glowing sphere, and this like line of light follows his finger, and he paints a glyph on your forehead glowing there that like matches one of the ones that's traveling over his form. And I think that forms the mental connection there with Lyra.
Thank you. Anna says, hello, Lyra. I am Mana.
Good. Now you will ride with a true engine, a real engine, as opposed to your lackadaisical, imperious Regulus. I will show you the life of the mind. I will show you the power that is in the hunger. I will show you what an engine can truly do.
I am ready.
As am I.
Let's do this. Oh, but first I have to take Radiant and introduce to Regulus.
Be well, Radiant.
Lyra, fly well.
Oh, I always do. Always. And so, Manon, how do you introduce Radiant to Regulus?
Well, first I pull Radiant aside and I say, first and foremost, don't lie to Regulus. He knows. If he asks you a question, answer truthfully. Otherwise, how do I say this? You will feel like your soul is eclipsed while you are with him. But once both of you understand each other, it is he protects me and he counsels me and he sees past all of the fear that I have in my eyes in those worst moments and There is no better companion in a fight.
Manon, Chivalrous, there are secrets I need to keep.
She goes, he's like a priest. Your secrets will go no further than him. He will never tell them. But if you lie to him, you are lying to yourself.
If he asks, I will answer.
Exactly. That is all that I can counsel you on. Otherwise, you two are both very competent. Try not to fight him too much, all right?
And so, Radiant, you will go to Regulus, and this voice will come down and will say, Radiant, I am so pleased that you are coming to take a lesson from me. I will endeavor to show you how a real engine behaves and how much control is a virtue rather than wild, untamed anger. Are you ready to learn?
I look forward to shining brightly with you.
Good then. And I think that I would like to do kind of a scene of the four of you together, sort of in the afterwards of the introductions. Let's have everybody, you can take a link with either the person who introduced you to the engine or to the engine. Just one link, just because I'm as a freebie, so you can write that in.
I think I'm going to take a link with Manon.
Okay.
Radiant was a little vulnerable there with her.
It seems reasonable. Manon?
Oh, I think I will take a link with Radiant because I know that Regulus will make Radiant confess, and so at least Radiant will understand me a little bit. So yes, that is.
And Tav?
I think I'm going to take one with Zafi as I'm feeling a little protective and worried for Zafi.
And Zavi?
I'm taking one with Tav because I I am a little bit nervous about getting in this engine that I know just has some problem with me and I don't know what it is.
That seems fair. So I think we had seen of the four of you kind of in the after this sort of seated around. There's probably a gathering table there in the hangar. I imagine metal trays and oddly colored food products, blue milk and other things. With the four of you kind of sitting around. Manon, what are you trying to do with this moment?
I think she sort of stops. Well, I guess how did things go is probably what it is. And
I think,
since in some ways you can't tell, she probably says, Tav, how was your flight?
Oh, so we took him out a bit? Is that what
yeah,
we're...
it was just a circle around the ship and come back.
It went well. I was I don't know, I think we got along all right.
Good. Was it similar to the first time that you flew with Pegasus?
No. Pegasus and I, neither one of us are quite willing to decide who's taking lead when Pegasus and I dance. Sharon and I, the steps were a little awkward, but it felt like, well, it felt like we at least were in the same rhythm.
Interesting. And then she turned to Radiant and she goes, how did it go for you?
I think Radiant like is glowing a little bit less than normal, and his colors look sort of muted. He looks a little like winded and tired. I didn't quite expect Regulus would make you move all the different, like everything that he was doing. I had to also do. There's a lot more just thinking with Lyra.
And was that introduction like your first ride with Lyra?
And I think Radiant thinks in a flashback back to like a half-destroyed hangar bay on the last Bastion city, and alarms going off, and Leviathan creatures attacking from the sky, and chaos and fire. He says, not exactly, no.
And then she goes, and Tav, how was your ride with Pegasus?
You mean Zabi, right?
Oh, Zabi. Oh, gosh, sorry, Zabi. I don't know why. Tav and Zabi are close enough.
Yeah. It was all right.
And was it like the first ride that you took with Charon?
Pegasus is less talkative, but otherwise, yeah, pretty much.
Interesting. And she sort of says, for me, Lyra was very different. Very chatty. Very fluid. She didn't really need me particularly, and she sort of stops and goes, maybe need isn't the right word. I was in an advisory role at best, perhaps, is the way to put it.
Lyra has strong opinions.
Yes. Yes. And where I would say that Regulus does too, as you know, very much believes in a teamwork steps at all times, doesn't he? He laughs. And she kind of, I know that switching our engines is a little awkward, a little uncomfortable, but we all can do it. And if we keep on developing these skills, this flexibility, it gives us the thing to be able to help each other when we need to, when the strength of one pilot and one engine is a better match for a foe that we are coming to. If we get to know each other's engines, then we have so many more options, so many more things that we can do, but it's a long road. We're not going to do it quickly. We're not going to play some sort of silly game of swapping all the time, but we're going to do this as we who know our engines recognize that there's a pilot who might be able to do something different with them. So think on that, okay? We're all learning. And she does say that so that, she looks at Zavi when she says that. We are all learning.
I will say I knew that piloting with an engine was an intimate process, but I did not expect for it to feel so strange to be inside something else's soul.
And man, you showed up here. Does this mean you're gonna hang with us more often?
I have other responsibilities I must see to.
Well, I mean, like we finish a mission, we like a little downtime, a little moment or two where we kind of blow off steam. You're never there.
And I think you see where Radiant had been sort of like flagging and fatigued, like his spine straightens some, and there's, you'd swear, almost a look of disapproval in his face. He says, I'm aware of your traditions.
Once again,
Well,
if ever you have the leisure, we do hope that you will join us. Success is to be celebrated.
And today's exercise was successful, but I'm afraid I must go. I have places I need to be.
all right.
And let's cut there. Let's take our first break. We'll take 10. This will be kind of a mid-session break because of the things we've gotten up. I'm going to try and declaw this cat from my shirt. And we'll come back in 10, all right? Bye. So let us come back. We've got another round of downtime, and then Zavi gets yet a third round of downtime. So Zavi, what would you like to do for your second downtime action?
I think I will try to make a connection.
Okay. With?
I think I'm gonna try to talk to Radiant
Okay.
because I don't think I've ever
Oh, interesting.
seen Radiant outside of an actual mission.
So you kind of try and catch Radiant as this meeting breaks up before he vanishes off.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
I think I'm just waiting in the doorway.
Okay.
Zavi, you did well out there. I commend you for taking on the challenge of bonding with a new engine. It was harder than I imagined that it would be.
Yeah. Yeah, they all have personalities, don't they?
Yes.
And they opinions about their pilots. I haven't seen you. You're just a pilot, right? Do you have another job here?
I have other responsibilities.
Okay. Is this something we're not allowed to know about, or are you just incredibly secretive?
There are secrets that I need to keep. Unfortunately, there is someone I must protect.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
the
So
best
you
way
can't
that I know how
say
to
what
do
your
that.
job is?
I pilot one of our engines.
Right. Okay. Yeah, got it. Same as all of us, but you're just very busy. Okay. I mean, look, it's no, you're right. It is none of my business, and it's none of my
No,
business.
it is fair. I should have a life outside of the engines.
Right, but it doesn't have to be with us, and that's totally up to you.
What do you do between missions? How do you spend
I'm
your downtime?
I'm kind of still figuring that out, and that's sort of why I wanted to talk to you, because you seem to have you seem to have a life outside of flying these engines, and look, it would be nice to be able to disappear once in a while, and I thought you knew how. And as much as I'm talking right now, I can keep a secret.
It has been a long time since I thought about what to do outside of being a pilot.
Wait, you are human, right? You're not some kind of machine that just switch off between missions? Because again, none of my business, but that does make everything I was said irrelevant.
To do on the ship? Something relaxing, not to do with the missions.
You seem to just disappear. I'm asking how you do that, because that's cool.
It is a complicated process.
All right. All right. Okay.
It has to do with the Bastion. I have a strange connection with it. I don't know if it's something I could teach exactly.
Okay, I have to say that is not I was just expecting you to say you have a hidden part of the ship you go to or something. You have
Well, there are also a lot of
Bastion.
service and access tunnels that run through the ship. You'd be surprised.
See, that's more what I was expecting. But now you mentioned this connection with the Bastion, and what do you mean?
You should not. I have said to. There are secrets that I must keep.
Okay. Your secrets have to do with something. Your secrets are not your secrets are none of my business. And I'm sorry. I was asking about a completely different kind of secrets, and I didn't mean to pry into a different secret that I didn't know you had.
Oh, you have not offended me. You have a right to wonder about these things, but I must go now. There are places that I must be, but we should talk about this more.
Oh, okay, yes. I hopefully hopefully you get a chance to hang out with us outside of missions more often.
I will make it my mission to hang out with you outside of a mission.
No.
Yes,
it doesn't need to be work.
I accept this mission. Thank you. It's given me clarity. Runs away and tries to disappear into a shadow, but mostly you hear him just like dashing down a corner.
Zabi, that feels like a little bit like forgive.
Forgive someone despite a mistake they have made.
Like kind of offering a chance of reconciliation and kind of coming to understanding. Does that seem fair?
Sure, yeah. Haven't rolled that one yet.
Okay.
Do I have any dice in that? Good question.
So you get to roll +1 die when rolling
I
to
do
make a
have it.
connection. So you roll 2 dice.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So
does that count for anything?
Yes, it does.
Missions?
Radiant, you get 4 links with Zavi. And then Zavi, you get 1 link with Radiant because of the critical.
Nice.
Cool.
I was just thinking, I wonder if they'll roll boxcars, and then they did.
Apparently, all of the confused babbling actually counts as a
Actually-
connection.
Landed. I love it. Let's come to
Honestly, I think you were awakening some radical concepts in Radiant's mind.
I love it. Tav.
Our mission, we've heard, we'll have the engines, but we have some possibility we're out of engines as well, right?
Yes, yes.
So I think rather than going and building up links with engine, I think I'd like to go and hang with Bannon.
What is it you want to do with Manon? Like, describe to me the activity that you want to engage Manon in.
I, like send a message of how about let's meet up at the game room, maybe play some space billiards or something. But you can clearly get the undertone of wanting to chat about what's coming up.
All right. Okay, so yeah, I think she does. She shows up, and unlike the other pilots who have sort of a really laid back thing, Manon has no casual clothes. She's always dressed formally, like from the cathedral. She's always got that high neck and like a very tailored black outfit. It's very austere. She's clearly very comfortable in it, but she doesn't have any obvious chill, if that makes any sense.
Tav is the exact opposite. I think there's probably a Hawaiian shirt and like some cargo Jams shorts. You remember Jams back in the day, the multicolored
Yes,
long
I mean,
shorts?
I do. Sherry does, but yeah, I think Manning's like brilliant when she sees you.
I mean, we're off duty,
Well,
but
that's-
not. You look very well put together.
Yes, that's correct. That is exactly the right way to describe it. Well put together.
I'll rack up. You could break. And as we get into this, look, Manny, I want to talk to you about something.
Of course.
This is gonna sound a little crazy, and you're gonna want to answer me some questions about it, and I'm not sure I can answer what you might want to ask.
Okay. All right. I have no idea where this is going, Tav, but let's give it a try.
But I'm afraid there's a Leviathan hiding in this system with us right now.
And she had sort of done that thing where she had leaned forward to listen while she was taking her shot, and she sort of stands up and she goes, that is, can you tell me why that is your take on the situation?
You believe some people have visions?
I know people have visions.
Okay. What if I told you that I sometimes have visions of the future?
I suppose that would be possible in the range of things. I believe in visions.
Well, then we're at a nice base point. I saw something terrible happen here. I saw a Leviathan rise up and destroy Bastion here. But here was different. The planets weren't exactly the same, and the colony was.
And she's, okay, hold on, stop. You're over explaining probably the parts that aren't as important. So she goes, let's sit down. And she will stop, and you see her go up to the vending machines that they have for things for the pilots, and her balance of creds comes up, you know, the bennies, and she has like an outrageous number.
And I have almost none.
And she sort of turns and she's like, what do you like?
Ooh. Cosmic Twix, absolutely.
All right. And you'll see her go, "Doot, doot." She'll get 2 of them for you. And then she'll go, I've never tried it. And so
Ooh,
she'll hit
it's
it.
cookie and a chocolate bar.
Okay, that sounds like a lot. And she will bring 3 of them over to the table and put 2 of them to slide them towards you.
Thank you.
She will sort of start to unwrap it. And she goes, don't tell me what was different first. Tell me what happened. And then we'll go through what's different, because you're going to confuse me.
There was a Leviathan hiding inside a planet. It was waiting for an ambush. But and when it sprung out, we weren't prepared. It got the drop on us. It made a move on Bastion. And there was something else. Something happened on Bastion. I don't know what. But the important thing was that the Leviathan, it was there and waiting.
And you said it hid in the planet. Is there mining here? Is there something that there's a deep dig?
I'm not sure that it had to physically dig. I think it could almost, like it just became a part of it, or was able to envelop or let the planet and it be in the same space.
She stops and she goes, okay. So what did you see when you saw it?
Where the colony. I think that's important. It seemed to just rise out. And it hit us. It used energies that were different than we'd seen before. It used something that Bastion reacted to. Like I say, you're going to ask questions I don't know the entire answer to. I feel like Bastion let me see that.
Bastion? Wait, but a different Bastion, or this Bastion?
I feel like it's Bastion's a god.
Yes.
When we go down to that colony, I'm worried something there's waiting for us. Like I say, though, things aren't the same as the vision. There
So
are
what is
differences here.
Okay.
Maybe it's the future of here. But we need to be prepared for something horrible down there. And I'm not sure the folks here on the flagship recognize the danger we're in.
So, sounds to me like what we need is greater battery of sensory equipment, things that they might not be running as standard. I met a engineer here. He wanted to draw pictures of the Leviathan. I will ask him what we have access to.
See ya.
Yeah, this is him. So you've met him? He seemed very enthusiastic for something that most people don't really want to look at all.
He's an amazing artist, isn't he?
Is he? I did see the drawings afterwards. I just got him permissions to get in.
Very, very talented.
Oh, cool. I never learned to draw very well. I can trace.
I never had
quite
the
nice.
patience.
And she sort of stops and goes, I had a lot of classwork.
Manny, I know that you weren't wanting to take over leadership, but I think you're doing a hell of a good job.
I think that you are very easy to work with, Tav, and I appreciate you saying that. I hope that we can bring Zavi into a place where he feels more comfortable, more connected.
Let's be honest. If he's not going to transcend, one of these days the Leviathan's going to take him out.
Then we have to change our tactics. If we know that he will always look like the easiest mark, that's to our advantage. And I feel terrible saying that, but I still think that Zavi can learn. I think he is just pre-discouraged.
Well, let's build him up and let's teach him the best way to be bait if bait is what he's going to be.
All right.
So that feels like confess more than
Mhm.
anything to me.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
So let's have you roll a die.
One die.
Okay, that's
no.
more than I have, so.
Rolling. I got a 5.
Okay. So 5 is 3 links, Manon,
Nice.
that you will record with
That's
Tav.
Okay.
And that does bring us to you, Manon. Do you want to do that scene with Sia then?
Hmm.
Or something else?
Sure. I will go and find Sia.
Okay. Sia, where does Manon find you and in what condition?
I think working in some like construction in an uncompleted part of the ship. And I think you find him sort of stressed and harried because he's way behind schedule on the work that he's supposed to be doing.
And I think she sort of finds you and she goes, oh, she goes, who is your supervisor right now?
What is there something wrong? I could help you.
I know that you can help me. That's why I need to speak to your supervisor.
Oh.
And she goes, it would be okay if I requisitioned you, right?
Yeah. No, I could just I can fill out some forms. Yeah, that's fine.
Right. Who is your supervisor?
He'll name off some head engineer.
All right. And I will go, and you won't have to fill out any forms because that engineer will be filling out those forms. And that is
There is that thing when you go to talk to the engineer Who goes? Like he's real good, but he's a real slacker. Like he vanishes from parts of the ship all the time, and like he's been on sick leave all afternoon. I don't know why. I mean, I can get you a real engineer.
Because I found him down below working on things. So
Say what now?
yeah, he was working in, and she'll name the section like she always has like the little grid work. Perhaps
But
he
it says
forgot
on
he
the
was sick.
pad that he's on sick.
And she looks,
I
she
s-
goes, well, it does. Perhaps he
Well,
felt better and he went to work.
Uh,
Anyway, I
uh,
need
uh,
him.
all right. But don't come crying to me if he turns out to be a flake.
I won't. I have made this choice and I will live with my choice. Thank you very much, sir.
And you'll get a buzz down from your supervisor CS that will say, there's one of the pilots needs you to do some things for them.
oh, is there? Well, I guess I have time to do that. I'll just get back to this later. He'll back away. Oh, so surprised. A pilot to see me? Who could have?
And I think Mantra will sort of walk past you. She'll kind of give you the side-eye glance, and she's clearly expecting you to follow her, like fall in line and follow her.
And he'll grab his like engineer kit, sort of little briefcase thing. It's got foam lining on the inside, and follow afterwards.
Okay. And she doesn't get very far, like around the corner, and she sort of turns back to you and she goes, Sia, we need a particularly wide range of different kinds of scanning. Access to that. I need you to help me figure out what we can get access to. I want to do this without panicking anyone.
Uh, sure. We can do that, Pilot Stone. Are you wanting to look into the Bellerophon's scanning or the engines?
And she sort of says, we need to scan the planet. We need to scan it for a wide range of signifiers. And she sort of said, of something amiss. I mean, we already know that the people aren't down there, but we need to
Okay.
know what is down there.
Um, I could bring up the last geological surveys of the colony and the systems. There was probably one made in the last 5 or 10 years.
Excellent. And then we can start those same checks to see what's different. Could you
All right.
aid us with this?
Yeah, and we could set up something once the Bellerophon gets a little closer with the ship's sensors. I might know a back door or two into the sensor system.
Excellent. I was hoping, I know that at the very least you could tell me what to request, but if we can do this quietly, that is ideal. What do you need in order to begin? And she goes, and I will need a list of what you are doing in case it goes terribly wrong and you get caught, and then I have it written up already.
Oh, well, it'll probably go fine. Like we're not gonna.
Exactly. It will probably go fine, but if it doesn't, I want to make sure that you aren't punished.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't want to be punished either. I don't know if
But
you
I don't
heard, but
want
I'm
very many people to know that this is happening. This is why I do need it to be as quiet as possible if we can get away with it.
no, that's fine. I can definitely fit that in. Yeah, I'll work on the. It'll be fine. I'll work on that other stuff later on.
I
But
need
we
a
can.
list so I can write up the requisition because I'm not going to lie to them, okay?
All right. Well, the surveys, you should be able to submit official requests for them with your pilot status. That should go right through. As for the sensors, I might suggest that since time is a factor and this mission is coming up, we might save some time by submitting fewer forms.
Okay. All right. And she sort of looks at it and she goes, which ones?
Uh, no, that's a whole. No, we're not rewiring. It's maintenance. You want a maintenance form. We're just doing some temporary patch jobs on some systems that aren't performing exactly up to specifications. It's an easy request. No one will even pay attention to it.
Very well. I will do it. And she sort of stops and she goes, now I'll ask someone else to do it. There. Okay.
But
Let's
no, I
pay
mean,
attention.
I can take care of it in an hour or two. It's no problem.
I need you to start with the sensory things right away.
So Manon, is this building a connection or are you doing a project or what are you doing here?
And I think that she turns in and she goes, if we can carry this out, she goes, I'll see if I can get you assigned to working with the pilots.
And what's the name of the colony again? Sorry.
Tierfing 3.
I heard some of the engineers talking that you might be deployed out towards Tierfing soon.
Yes, that is what we are checking on.
You know, I wouldn't mind a chance to see some of the system up close. If you could requisition me to do field work on the engines.
Certainly, I can do that. Now or later.
Later should be fine. We still have a couple of days of travel. You should get on those survey requests though.
I will. And she'll take the list of like all the standard ones so that you can hide the weird ones underneath those. Does that seem right?
Yeah.
So it's an afternoon of paperwork that binds us together. That's it.
So that feels like Defy a little bit because you are kind of trying to
It
cheat
is.
the system there.
Not cheating. She's not lying. She's just trying to figure out how to get the thing and not alarm anyone.
To
We're
Defy.
just smoothing some corners off the process.
Yes.
It
Thank
does
you for
feel,
helping me to find the vocabulary to make this okay.
it does feel like you two are on the same wavelength, though. I
Yes.
wouldn't have said that earlier, but it feels like that you are. So, Patrick, I think it feels right if you want to give a die to Manon.
Yeah, I definitely would.
Okay.
And you know, coincidentally, he's been working on some similar projects recently.
Okay.
Oh, really? Excellent.
And this isn't really lying because that's against your code, right?
No, it isn't lying at all. It is asking for the right set of things and then asking for additional set on the other side.
Asking for help on some things,
Yeah, exactly. With an expert.
which is another thing that you're not allowed to do.
I'm not. No, I was requisitioning his aid.
Okay.
Is that the same as asking for help?
You have lying and asking for help as two things that you cannot do with your honor. So I'm just putting that out to you. Let's have you roll those 2d6.
2d6. That is a good question because I didn't consider that. It was like I was using my thing. So
I think these
that's
are
a
only
5 and a
questions
4.
that Manon can answer for herself.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to think on that.
So
now I have like a sort of panic attack in the hallway. Was I lying? Am I asking for help? No, I just need him to do some work. I always ask people to.
yeah, I think you're caught there. So that's 3. So Sia, you may record 3 links with Manon.
Wow. Nice.
And that does bring us to you, Sia, for your second downtime action.
So I think what he has to work on late into the night shifts is I would like to start another flagship project.
Okay.
And it's that mess hall. Like Sia has been doing some logistics studies and putting in project requests because of course like these several different dining locations for different officers and groups and whatever, like it's very inefficient to the flow of the ship, and if we just had a general mess hall, then it would make things a lot more smooth running on the ship.
That seems reasonable. Uh does that feel like analyze?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. I think go ahead and roll analyze. You got one die with that.
And where am I? I'm there. I'm gonna push myself for this, unless there's a poison promise about overscheduling and overcommitting, maybe.
No, I think you've already dug your own hole on these things.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I like this project. I want to
Okay.
push on it.
Okay. So 2 dice.
3. Oh no, I'm not transcendent. Yes, correct. I remember how dice work.
That's a 4.
4s.
So that will be 2 ticks, right?
I think 3.
Let me check.
I think it's 2, 3, 4.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They do it a little bit differently with the projects here. Downtime segments marked. Yeah. So that's 3 segments. So we'll put 3 segments on the flagship. Got that set.
Cool.
And you'll be able to be working on that.
Yeah, and I think just to do something there while I'm doing it, I think as Sia is working late into the night in this like sort of emptied out space that's going to become the mess hall. It's filled with like wiring and bits of mechanics everywhere. He's talking to himself, and he's saying like, "What do you mean? No, well, I mean, I have scheduled shifts during most of the day. No, no, okay, no, that's fair. You're right. No, I wouldn't want to just live going from mission to mission. That sounds pretty rough, actually. Okay, well, so what? We like trade afternoons or something? How does this work exactly? No, I'm not trying to. No, I'm taking it seriously. You're right. We need to work out a system. Okay, so what would this look like? And he like goes over and sits down on a crate, and across from him we see Radiant sort of come out of the shadows and come sit down on the crate and say, we must work out a formal accord if we're going to share these responsibilities and times together. And I think the two of them, like, I don't know exactly what the details are, but they
Right.
start working out a system between them that's more than just, Radiant being awake when there's engineering to be done.
I like it. That brings us back to Zavi for your 3rd downtime action.
Yeah, I just realized there's no downtime action listed to like recover stress.
That's because you don't.
Yeah. Which is fine. What do I want to do? Let's see.
Once we're in the mission, of course, you can spend links to help with stress.
That's Trying to think of what I know so far. Let's see. I'll make preparations. I have a whole new list of questions to
Okay,
ask.
absolutely.
None of them seem terribly relevant, but why not?
Well, and there is an advantage to doing it, because if you can bump up readiness and fill out that tier 2, you will be a tier above where the status is, and that'll get you
Cool.
an extra die on the engagement roll.
Excellent.
So what do you want to roll that with?
I think analyze.
Okay.
It's a 2.
That is a 2. So you're not going to get any questions,
Okay.
but you are going to get 2 ticks on the readiness clock.
Okay. Cool.
So you are going to be able to finish that off and get some more information there. And I think we do see the Bellerophon, has moved away from the Bastion. We see a lot of work going on down there on the Bastion. We see a lot of divine invocations going on, a lot of repairs to the ethereal matrix there. And we have all of the theocratic engineers working round the clock, running through the homily rolls, and all of the worship, trying to retune everybody. There's probably a crackle of the prayer ether field above the city that is kind of changing color. And we'll see the ship moving towards Tierfing 3 and 4. And we'll see that first team are I'm going to get the names here in a second. Our team, not Algernon, Arcturus, gather themselves, and they will launch off, and then you all will get yourselves together and prepare. Your mission here is to go and explore a set of ruins, essentially what has happened to this planet. That is the mission parameters here, which is a tier 1 mission based on the setup here. So we start with 1 die base. We get another die because of the readiness, because you are above that level. I don't think it's necessarily particularly heroic or noble, but I do think Octavius's connection to it will give us another die on this. So I think we're rolling with 3 dice. I believe that we had Tav roll last time because he was first seat. So Manon, you get to roll the engagement roll this time.
I am so sorry, everyone. All right, here we go. 3d6. I got a 6.
That is
Holy
a 6.
smacks, unprecedented for me.
Then I think we will see you all launch off towards Tierfing 3. But I am not going to start a mission here with 30 minutes left in the session. But it does. I did want to get us our engagement roll so we know, is Radiant going on the mission, or is Sia going on the mission, Patrick?
I think Sia's going on the mission,
Okay.
because I think putting him in danger on an away mission sounds interesting, and then Radiant can show up
Yeah.
unexpectedly if he needs to.
Tav Well, I actually have to pause here. Tav, what is your reaction when you see Zavi going down, getting set up, Manning getting set up, and they're getting a like engineering capsule? It's probably like it's actually like a portable unit that Sia's in, that's carried by one of the other mechs, and you see Sia getting ready to board that.
Yes,
What-
he is in a backpack on Regulus. So,
Manny, what's going on?
and she goes, oh, Sia thought it would be good to come with us to work on the scanning.
This seems really I don't think that. No, that's a very bad idea. I don't think that's a good idea.
And she sort of stops and she goes, Taff, I'm gonna need you to explain to me why you're reacting so strongly. I'm willing to listen to your reason, but that did not sound entirely what was going on here.
Got a bad feeling that Sia shouldn't be involved in this.
Sia, you hear that?
Yeah, I think he like cringes around a corner, and he's like going to grab his pack there. He's like, I shouldn't, this is a bad idea. I shouldn't be here. I don't belong on these sort of, and his eyes just like flash a little bit of that like indigo purple light. And there's Radiant's voice that says, "No, we can do this. This is what we're building towards."
If you think it's the best idea, Manny, I'll go with you. But I'd rather take personal responsibility for their safety. Let me haul them down.
Are you sure a ride with Charon is a good idea for Sia? I've only spoken with Charon once, and I found them terrifying, and I thought I was reconciled to death.
We have to watch out for the civilian. I think that should be a very high priority.
I do not take these things lightly, Taff. I am so sorry that this is causing you so much pain.
Well, then maybe next time we should discuss it. And I'll turn around and walk over towards Charon, and I think there's just sort of this like phase in as I enter into Charon.
Oh, okay. And I do think like Manny looks back and looks at Sia, and she's like, "Are you okay?" Like,
And I think Sia turns and gives a full on like to the centimeter perfect salute. Because he's not a civilian, he is part of the military. Thank you very much. And says, Pilot Stone, reporting for duty. I'm ready to assist the squad.
thank you very much, Engineer Sia, and she'll get your name right. Yeah, Sia. And she goes, and thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the support.
Davi, I'd like to get a reaction shot of you, what your reaction is to this scene you would have had to witness, kind of waiting there, kind of maybe not wanting to get yet into Pegasus and seeing this.
Yeah. Like we're not going into battle. So I think I'm less disturbed by it than I would be otherwise. Um, like if there were a Leviathan waiting out there, I would be freaking out and be like, what the hell are you thinking, man? But I think we're just surveying, right? And that's kind of my interactions with Sia have, like he's interested in this kind of thing. He likes to see new stuff, as the everybody does. I don't think I'm like too upset by this because I, unlike Tav, do not have visions of an alternate timeline
Yes.
telling me that this is dangerous.
Poor Jeff, none of us do. None of us can understand.
This seems like a good mission for him to go on, like
Load up, get set, get in your engines. You will have that thing where they will set a softer launch. They're not launching you for immediate action, so there is a softer launch as the three of you head out. The engineer backpack on the mech, and we'll see you heading towards Tierfing 3. And I think the colors of the planet, certainly you get some flashbacks there, Octavius. But we see you all heading towards the planet, and this is not something that you saw before, Tav. You see the colony dome for Tierfing. There was no colony here when this battle took place, but you all will see the colony dome, and it is dark as the four of you descend towards it. And that's what we will take up next time. Controlled position. Let's do a quick stars and wishes. I think we did hit some of the wishes that we had from last time. I was glad to be able to do that. Ethan, can I start with you?
Stars to the conversation between Manon and Octavius, like that whole it's our free time, but we're still discussing, the missions thing, because that seems extremely like appropriate for both of them. And the like, oh, let's use Zavi as bait. Yes, awesome. Because yeah, that makes total sense. But I liked how it was both discussing the situation and like making plans, and also these two characters interacting, in a way that, like, I don't know, I like that you've made more than one use of the scene at once. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Anything wishes wise?
I kind of want to see these engines, like their impulses come in more.
Absolutely. One of the things, of course, is that one of the possible poison promises is have one of your engines develop another impulse.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So we'll keep that
Cool.
in mind. Excellent. Tyler.
This was great. This one was intense and cool, and I loved all our interactions. It was nice having Radiant there, kind of interacting with the crew. And I like how you're making the difference between the two. I like Radiant's grand, sort of super alpha, sort of gung ho-ness, the counter Sia, and that's really cool. but I thought the interaction with Zavi and Radiant was really interesting and fun, and Zavi kind of looking for something, then finding something that they were not expecting, and that leading to different thoughts from Radiant. And I like that progression you're doing there, Patrick. That was really, really neat. And of course, anytime that you and I get to play, Sherry, when we get to converse, I just always think it's just gold. I always enjoy how we bounce. So it was phenomenal. Wishes. I'm looking forward to an out of engines bit of action. I think that's going to be fun. I think it'll be fun to see Transcendence in a non-engine fashion. I think that's going to be super cool. So my wish is to see some neat stuff from that, and kind of as a little bit further, I wouldn't mind us getting to Bastion. I wouldn't mind a chance to see us in Bastion at some point. Maybe not next session, but as something going forward, because we've yet to be inside Bastion.
I think that's a really good point. That's smart. You okay with me sort of immediately pulling out sort of the back? I figuring this season too, so I definitely want to pull out the
we
connections.
Can't play too coy, and that's sort of why I've started throwing stuff like to ban and to, it feels like the secret's got to be told a little from here.
Manon.
Gosh, there were so many good scenes in this one. I want to thank all of you for going along with the team building exercise and doing that on the thing. That was super fun. I think Zavi broke my heart with their they're both the same pretty much, like, you just see me and going, how can you say anything? It was perfect, like pitch perfect on that. And it was a joy to kind of interact with the thing. I think that our engines, that they say that they're very alien and stuff, I think ours are a little bit more accessible, at least like with the ones that we know. It's how it feels in the game. So I'm really enjoying that. I loved the conversation with Tav. That was very good and very fun. And I feel bad about sort of in a way calling you out for reacting in a way that I was at the end of going, I don't think this has anything to do with the thing. Why are you doing this? And so it was good. It was good, and I felt evil doing it too at the same time, but there you go. And Sia, the scene was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to, how do you say, bring Sia in more to the group. So then actually what it is I think you and Radiant will be exhausted with being around the pilots all the time soon, is the flip that will be. So I don't know. It's all good. It's all good. There's so much good stuff. Let's see, my wish, we need to do something to get ourselves more downtime actions. Clearly that's what's required. So
it's simple. Just crit on every obligation roll and you'll get an extra downtime action.
That sounds like not so easy. So all right,
because you had to have 2 dice to do it, and then you got to roll boxcars.
Yes.
And last but not least, CS/Radiant/Patrick.
This was cool. I liked seeing some different ways that we made actual like preparations and plans and stuff, while still finding the time to connect and have scenes with each other. I also thought the team building engine swapping exercise scene was really cool. I enjoyed the chance to get to play as Radiant in a non-threatening scene. It's interesting trying to find his voice. It's very like I have to keep reminding myself that it's very declamatory. Like Radiant doesn't ask questions; he just makes statements. And so I enjoyed getting to see that, and then like through that, getting to work out some of this thing of Sia and Radiant expanding their relationship and coming to a new balance and like accord between themselves, which is both interesting, like good progress, but also just like deepening the unhealthiness of whatever is going on here. Sherry, I really enjoyed Sia's scene with Manon as well. Like I love getting to start to corrupt Manon a little. Like let's not do absolutely every regulation and form and think we should.
You were
We'll just
confusing her so she didn't know what she was agreeing to at a certain point.
oh no, we'll just call it maintenance. It's all
I-
fine.
Are you sure I will fill out a maintenance form.
That was really fun. And you know, getting to insinuate myself into the mission there. Ethan, I thought it was really cool to watch Zavi struggling with this engine that was just like mean and abusive to you. You're like, but what, have we even had a conversation? Why are you like this to me? It was really great to see like that next form of Zavi struggling, and then like the conversations around it of like Tav being like, I don't think they're ever going to make it, where I have that thing where like Radiant is sure that you're gonna make it. Um so seeing all that swirling around you is really neat. And Tyler, I just thought it was neat to see like your reaction there at the end. Um to Sia going on the mission. Like that fight with Manon was really neat, and is progressing the emotional relationship between Sia and Tav, but I don't think in the way that he wants. um, Wishes, as a not necessarily next session, but next step for Radiant, is I am looking for who I'm gonna open up to that secret uh, about. Like, who's gonna be the person that I reveal the identity to? I think is the next step in that story.
Interesting.
Uh, and as far as like things from the game, I think it would be very cool to see someone go into Eclipse. That whole mechanic is fascinating, and also like one of the most fun of parts of a Monster Hearts game is when someone goes into their darkest self, and you get to play that full-on ridiculous melodrama. And this is very much a similar sort of vibe.
Yeah. See, you got much less links than you did last time because you split
It's
your
true.
downtime actions. And oh, I did look at the stress levels of some of you. That some of them are a little high.
A lot of us are up there.
Yes. Hmm. So we'll see about that.
And you know, a lot of this session and getting ready for this mission is putting some of our characters on more of an emotional stress edge than they were through the first cycle.
Yes. Excellent. I am going to stop the recording.